Hey, Joan, welcome back.
Thank you. How are you doing?
Very good. Yourself?
Excellent. Still haven't lost any more weight, but it's like holding strong with everything.
That's good. So this week we're heading into week 8, and I want you to see what your wins are. You may have made some progress. I want you to write that down, maybe add it to the Facebook group. See, last week we were listening to our body, seeing how we were feeling, paying attention to all those little things. And by the end of this week, when we get into enhancement day next weekend, you'll have some choices to make. Some things will be changing. So I want to check in with you guys, see how you're planning for the week. And this week's also about thinking how you're going to turn this into a lifestyle. If you're going to go back into spring at some time, what do you need in order to do a few weeks of spring? Is it going to be more recipes? Is it more restaurants to go to, different markets to go to, things to try, things along those lines? So talk about your planning and how you're going to turn this into a lifestyle as well. Anyone want to go first? Tell us how their weekend's been.
I'll go.
You guys were both at the same time. Go ahead, Joan.
Who's going?
Ladies first, Joan. Go for it.
Whoops. I'm going to be quick. This has been a really tough couple weeks because my stomach has been hurting like crazy from overuse of ginger. That's what we think. That's what we're settling on. And so I'm still totally keto. I'm pink to rosy.
Okay.
What is that? Okay, and that's interesting. But with my stomach the way it is, I'm not hungry. So poof, there you go. I mean, I feel weird, but I'm not hungry. Let's see. So I think what I'm going to go do is I'm going to get a couple of jugs of coconut yogurt.
Okay.
See if it can provide. That came from my friend at Istanbul, plain yogurt.
Mm-hmm.
For ginger burn, the ginger burn of the gut. And let's see, I got good exercise this week, so I'm feeling good about that.
That's awesome.
And, yeah, including pruning trees in my yard, because that's what you do here in Central California when it's blistering cold.
That's not what we're doing here. Still digging out of 18 inches of snow.
Sorry, I hope you had a good time yesterday with the kids.
I did.
So I'm. Do I want to look ahead?
Yep. What's the plan for the week?
It's a pretty busy week, and I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. I'm looking for different recipes because I'm not liking certain things. I enjoy my fresh cauliflower as a base, and that's making me happy. And I'm pinning notes up all around that maybe when you're in keto, you shouldn't multitask quite as much because the bison burns. I was sauteing ground bison and I kind of drifted. And so it got a little like we cooked it out in an open fire on the prairie. So, yeah, so I'm looking for more recipes. And I think I'm going to move to just a lot more fish in the next couple of weeks. I do it once a week, maybe twice, but I could do it twice, maybe 3 times.
Yep. And we talked about getting all those good omega-3 fatty acids in and adding some salmon, and some of the smaller fish are full of all those good healthy fats. So I love it.
Did you give a celery juice recipe besides, I know celery plus cheesecloth, I got that part, but is there a recipe, or are we supposed to know this intuitively?
It's just, I take an entire bunch of celery, and
Okay.
wash it and just kind of get the dirt off of it. And then if you want to remove the leaves are a little more bitter. So if you want to remove the leaves, you can. And then basically, if you're using a blender, just blend it all up, and you can strain it through a cheesecloth. I use a masticating juicer, and there's centripetal juicers and there's masticating juicers. The masticating ones just simply have an auger that just squeeze it. The centripetal ones have blades that spin around and spin really fast. Both of them are fine for celery. The reason I choose the masticating one is when I make it the night before. Sometimes in the morning, it's always a little busy. And if you're using a centripetal juicer, those blades spinning so fast introduce more oxygen to the celery juice, and I can tell that it oxidizes the next morning. So I try and use the masticating one to reduce the oxygen that's added to the celery juice, so I can keep it till the next morning. Fresh is best, obviously. So if you're doing the blender, there's going to be some oxygen added in there as well. So I would, drink it within a few hours.
I did the Vitamix. I knew nothing about the masticating juicer.
Juicers. The one that I have is an Omega brand, but there's lots of different ones out there.
Yeah, am I gonna like this? Another appliance on my counter.
If you use it, I mean, it's nice to have, right?
Well, have you used the Vitamix for juicing? Because all I get is foam, mostly foam, in the Vitamix.
And that's where I think will straining it help?
It's slower than molasses in January, which you would understand.
It's pretty slow, huh? I was thinking if you pour it into the cheesecloth and then squeeze it, does it help to?
I didn't do that, so I'm just doing it now. I just did it before I called.
Okay.
So it's.
And the centripetal one introduces a lot of foam as well. So just leaving it, I usually just let it set for 15, 20 minutes and let it come down.
Yeah, collapse. Okay. All right. Thanks for that. That's my report.
Awesome. Thanks, Joan.
Thank you.
Carrie, you want to go next? Your hand was next.
Sure. No, I'm following everything, and it's interesting. I thought I would miss my bourbon and all that more than I do. Yesterday, I've been teaching a lot, and last night I was teaching in Japan online, and I didn't get home till probably 11 o'clock. And then I said, boy, this would be a nice time for a bourbon, but I didn't have a cup of tea instead. So I become a teetotaler. But it actually hasn't been too bad. I haven't really felt the need that I needed to have a beer or a bourbon or anything like that. So that's been good. And I've been walking every day. I've been staying away from the lifting I used to do, the heavy lifting. Mm-hmm. So I've just been doing more walking and stretching and things like that. And so I'm maintaining my weight. I lost that 15 pounds. I'm kind of staying there, but I measure myself. I'm still in, that ketosis. Good. Still in that state. So breakfast, I'm eating a lot of, eggs, bacon, or sausage, things like that. But in the eggs, I'll make an omelet, but I put lots of vegetables. I put lots of spinach, onions, peppers, tomatoes, all different ones, and just kind of loaded up more veggies. And then, the egg is around it, and then some protein. And lunch is typically whatever the leftover is from the night before, which is usually a protein and veggies. Yeah. So, I've been doing the 2 alkalizers a day. So I've been maintaining that and kind of staying put sort of where I am.
Well, it seems like you've got a good routine, and the foods that you're eating seem like they're all in line. Meat and vegetables, you can't go wrong with a foundation of, just good old meat and vegetables. We want to send a signal of abundance to the body. Now, intentional movement is, we've talked about stress and estrogen and some of the, hormones that are preventing us from, getting into ketosis. You're in ketosis. But how do we get more burn, right? And that's where the intentional movement comes in. Just increasing the energy demand on the body. So, some yoga, some dancing, some walking. Walking is one of the easiest. And have you set a goal for yourself on the number of steps, or do you track your steps at all?
Well, I usually do a half hour to 40 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. And like, should I be weightlifting? Is that because that increases the demand on the body?
It does. And I was going to mention that because so there's it's always this fine line with cortisol. Now, from a stress standpoint, usually what we find in men is it's more of a stress reliever. And now, as long as you're not, pushing yourself so much from a strength standpoint that you're tearing and ripping everything, and you've got all this inflammation going on in your body. But just normal, strength training can be a way to, obviously, increasing muscle mass is going to increase your metabolic needs in your body. And in men can be more of a stress reliever. Women, it sometimes is more of a stress inducer and causing extra stress in the body. And it's really the difference of the testosterone levels is how it's being managed. So, yeah, if you want to experiment with it, and the nice thing about being in ketosis, it is muscle sparing, and you can build muscle while you're in a spring season. Okay. The one thing you may notice is a little bit different from a power perspective and the amount of load that you can actually lift. So realize that we've got glycogen stored away for fuel in our muscles. And as we burn through those glycogen stores, our liver is going to replenish those. But when you're not taking in as much glucose, it's got to make that glucose from the proteins and fats that you have either eaten or on your body. And it's a little bit slower process. So long story short is you may not be able to lift quite as heavy of as a load when you're in a ketogenic state as if you would be in sugar burning mode.
Okay. All right. Can you say something about testosterone? If you have low testosterone, does this WildFit program, does it stimulate more of it, or do you continually taking prescriptions?
So it kind of depends on the root cause, right? And what's going on and why the testosterone is low. Balancing out the cholesterol and helping the different enzymes to convert. I would say, yeah, there's probably some benefit there. Reducing stress will, because it's sometimes, when I do testosterone testing, an individual has symptoms like there's low testosterone, but it's how the testosterone is actually being metabolized. So I guess, for instance, you have a testosterone level that is adequate. It's within range, but they have symptoms of low testosterone because maybe they have more insulin resistance, and it's being metabolized to I'm trying to remember the name of it. It's I think it's alpha hydroxy testosterone or something like that. That is causing effects that we may not want, hair loss and different things along those lines that we just get symptoms of low testosterone. So it can be because of stress or insulin resistance and how the testosterone we are producing is getting used in the body. And can WildFit help with that too? Yeah, it can, especially from an insulin resistance standpoint. If we're going into a spring season and lowering our insulin levels and bringing things back in line. So it really just depends. Now, sometimes the root cause is an actual problem, physical problem where they're not able to produce the testosterone. So it really depends on the root cause. But there are things in WildFit that can help to bring things in line for sure.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Any other breakfast suggestions?
Breakfast, you're doing the omelet with all the veggies.
Yeah. Sausage, bacon.
Yeah. So sausage is sausage and eggs were kind of my go-to. The other things is just sauteing just vegetables. So if you want to add egg to them, add egg to them. So just sauteing different vegetables, or sometimes I just go with alkagizer and kind of go skip the eggs and things along those lines. So leave it up to you. Sometimes the eggs turned into lunch. The eggs and bacon and omelet.
I'm going to try your sausage recipe today. I'm going to make that.
That's great.
Okay. One last question. I know we're not doing starches now, but I was watching a video on, they were saying how good starches were for you, like any type of potatoes and all the root vegetables. Can you just say something about that? I know we're not doing that now, but I was just curious about that.
Yeah, from a potato standpoint, being a more complex carbohydrate like that releases, the blood releases into the blood slower. So we don't have necessarily a big spike in blood sugar. And, sweet potatoes and things like that have fiber in them, as well as beta carotene. That's what makes them orange. Different minerals. So from a nutrient standpoint, they've got a good amount of nutrients in them as well. The problem usually comes in how we prepare them. If we're deep frying them, that's probably not always the best. If we're, baking them, and then we can't just have a baked potato. We've got to load it with butter and sour cream and cheese and bacon and everything else. So if we can just, cut up even some white potato, it's not terrible. If you cut up some white potato and put it into a vegetable soup, great. What a way to get some good vitamins and a starchier vegetable. But then there's also like cassava and some of these other root vegetables that are good as well. So
okay, all right.
Something that from an evolution standpoint, most of the potatoes came from South America or North America, and we didn't have them for a long period of time. But they seem to be in that acceptable category that, they're not causing harm if prepared properly. And they do have some benefits.
Great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Carrie. Who else wants to share? J-Lo?
Hello.
Hello. Is this your Zumba studio?
This is my Zumba studio. Yeah. I can change the background, so I just picked that one today since I'm wearing all black. I'm craving starches like crazy. I have lost, so I was not losing any weight whatsoever until probably like a week and a half ago or 2 weeks ago. So I had lost 7 pounds in the last 2 weeks, which is for me. I wasn't looking for the program was not for me for weight loss, but when I see the before pictures and the now pictures, I'm like, maybe I did need it, those 7 pounds out. So I feel good about that, but I'm getting bored with the food, to be honest with you, with like just the meal. And the thing is that we do it's called trifecta. So these are like, I don't know if you're familiar with them, but they are like keto friendly, no preservative meals are already prepared, and you put them, like heat them up in like 3 minutes and go. So we used to do that a lot for lunches, and then we switched to vegan, and I'm so excited. I got the box and everything had beans or anything that we're not supposed to be doing these 2 weeks. So that's out of for me. So I've been trying to do like vegan sausage, vegan meat, and vegetables, and it's okay, but I'm getting bored. And then I found these in the grocery store, and these are like, are you familiar with the brand?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, this is perfect. So at least I'm adding a little bit of substance. But today I just realized that, I mean, it's just chickpeas, tapioca, pea protein, but then it has like a xanthan gum. So I'm sure that's out this week, and I didn't realize, but I really enjoy that meal. So finally I found something I enjoy and I cannot have it. So I'm kind of like now in that thing that I cannot have anything. And I'm trying
So
different vegetables. I try mushroom soup. I mean, I'm trying everything. I really miss having like a little bit of sweet potato here, or like even this pasta that I enjoy quite a bit.
yeah, and those, the reason I recognize those is I do have those, other, flour type pastas in summer season, and we'll talk more about summer later, and fall. So in summer and fall, I'll have more of those. And um, before you got on, JLo, I was saying that there's going to be some choices that we're going to have to make come Enhancement Day. So there are some things that may be changing next week. But this week is really about thinking about, okay, how am I going to turn this spring season, this deep version of spring, into something that I could do on a regular basis. I don't want to get bored having the same things over and over again. We get into these routines and we have rules and they're working, so I don't want to change anything. But now is the week to figure out, okay, how am I going to get more things in from a variety perspective? Is there some new recipes I need to find and try? If it is a new restaurant, a new market. Maybe we go even to an Indian or Asian or different type of market to find things that, hey, I never even knew what this was. But we're going to add it in and see how we can, create something with it. So what does a typical, a few recipes look like for you now, JLo?
So yesterday we did the vegan meat and we add every vegetable we had. So it was really yummy. And then we added a little bit of pasta. So I think that's what gave the consistency that I quite enjoy. I had a lot of vegan. I cannot have eggs. So for me, the breakfast is pretty much just the alkagizer and the celery juice and the water, right? I may do salads, and then I found a sugar-free bacon. I told you I'm not vegan, but most of it I'm just trying to get other stuff. Um, so I don't know, a lot of avocado.
Yeah, from a vegetable standpoint, if you're not doing any meat, it is a ton of vegetables, like, I don't know, 15 servings of vegetables a day. But the other thing from a fat standpoint is, okay, how do we dress these vegetables to make them more exciting and different?
Yeah. So
So
I have found like zero sugar. Like there's one that is called good no green goddess. I don't know. One of the it
green
was
goddess.
yes, that one.
Hmm.
Goddess, goddess, yeah. I do a lot of olive. I enjoy olive oil, so I do olive oil. Yeah. So and a lot of avocado.
So have you tried infusing the olive oil with different spices? Maybe it's one that's got garlic in it, one that's got rosemary in it, one that has maybe basil. Maybe you make a pesto that, you cringed when you saw that chimichurri sauce, but the chimichurri sauce was to give your vegetables some more life. So making some different pestos.
With the sauces. You're right.
The pine nuts can be used kind of like as a Parmesan cheese substitute, and you blend that together with some olive oil and basil and garlic and make like an awesome fresh pesto to toss your green salads or even your sautéed vegetables and things in. So the aioli recipe where you can spice it up different ways. So even think about infusing your olive oil with some different flavor can be helpful as well. What else? Is there some go-to recipes that you have, or is it just the vegan meat with different veggies?
That's pretty much what I do. I mean, I tried that mushroom soup. That was good, but again, got bored out of it after the third bowl, right? And I made a lot, so maybe I should have made a lot. So now it's just there
Yep.
in the fridge.
Have you done any curries?
Yesterday, my kids wanted to go to a Mexican restaurant, so I went there, and I'm like, I was just like staring at the chips, and I'm like, no, Jenny, you're better than this. So I didn't eat anything. It was really hard, but I told them, can you give me like salad? And they had a shrimp. So okay, well, put shrimp there and pieces of avocado. And again, they're looking at me like I'm an alien, but they didn't. And they're like, "You want a lot of sauce?" And I no sauce. Can you just give me olive oil? And they're like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah." And it was really yummy.
Yeah, my go-to is usually fajitas at a Mexican
Yeah.
restaurant. So you could do maybe if they have shrimp fajitas. If you do shrimp, you could have with all the sautéed, vegetables along with it. Yep, but I've been there and telling them, yeah, I want the fajitas, but I don't want any cheese. I don't want any sour cream. I don't want any tortillas. I don't want. They're like, what? What are you doing? But that's exactly it. Find the items on the menu that you can pick and choose and put things together. So from I was just thinking about different recipes, and I have a list of some vegan recipes I can share with you to see if there's anything there. But I was mentioning curries. So I don't know if you've ever tried different curries, but you can use some coconut milk and spice up the coconut milk with some different vegetables and cauliflower rice and have some different curries, and then soups, of course, making some different soups or stews or however you'd like to arrange it. So those are probably my go-to things from a veggie side of things. And since I've done this so many years, I was like, okay, I have a good portion of people coming through that are vegetarian. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do a spring season, vegetarian style as well, just to see what they're going through. So it is finding more veggies, but also don't forget the fat, the good healthy fats to go along with it to provide the satiety and get you between meals.
Yeah, I'll try that. Maybe it's the sauces. I'm just maybe using the same thing. And maybe I just need to spice it up a little bit different. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
on a good news, I really, really enjoyed my alka-chaser yesterday. I don't know what was wrong, but it was good. I tried like a third of it is a little bit of coconut water, and
Mm-hmm.
then I added a little bit of cinnamon because I saw the last video, and he said that cinnamon was okay as long as you're not using a lot or like mixing it with something
Yeah.
sweet. And I think it was like the key thing that at least I really enjoyed it. Almost had two.
Awesome. So I think Joan mentioned cinnamon earlier once before, adding like nutmeg and allspice and cinnamon and different things to it. But cinnamon's actually great because it helps to balance your blood sugar and actually keep things in line. The thing is, most of us think about cinnamon with sweet stuff. So we never think about it with some of these other foods. Because I remember as a kid, it was cinnamon toast, crunch, and it was like, okay, I make my own toast and I mix my own cinnamon with sugar and just dump it all over the piece of toast and then have cinnamon toast. So my it's just a little bit different from a cinnamon perspective. So yeah, if you love cinnamon and it has a great flavor in the alka-chaser, go for it. Awesome. Any other things you need to prep or plan for this week, or any other wins that you've noticed? 7 pounds is great.
Yeah. I'm happy with that. No, and I think the only thing is like the pick me up. I mentioned that since the very beginning. Like in the afternoon, I just I get tired, and I wish I had that pick me up. And before that would be a Starbucks refresher. That was plenty for me to like go and finish the project that I was working on. And I just get still a little bit of a foggy brain in the afternoon. I am very clear in the morning, and I try to do most of the important things in the morning, but I wish I had that pick me up, and I haven't found what that is. I get water, I get alcohol, I get all of that stuff, but I don't know what to do.
If you feel that coming on, just try, if you have an opportunity, just to go for a short walk, maybe 10-15 minutes, and see if that boosts up your ketone levels again. So your brain's functioning on dual fuel here. It's got glucose that your liver is making plus ketones. So if we start to get any of that brain fog, just see if we can get it a boost from some more intentional movement to get that process going again.
Yeah, I have tried that. The thing that right now we have ton of snow, so I cannot do the walks that I did before. But I have how do you call that, a rebounder? So I have
Oh, great.
and I do that a lot during the day just to get my they call it the
Yep.
peaks or
That's
whatever.
fun.
No, but this is like I need something like a something else. But anyway, I just haven't found what that is, especially during this season.
Yep. Well, good. Yeah, rebounding is great from a detox standpoint, because remember, our lymph system is how we carry all the garbage out of our body, and there's no pump. It works off of gravity and moving around. So being able to rebound a little, if you're new to rebounding, go slow, because you can have some serious detox reactions if you just jump on there and start going after it. So just a warning. Start slow and then build up from a rebounding perspective. And, J-Lo, I'm thinking about this a little more. And one of the things that I find from a hormone perspective and how we detox things, we need a lot of B vitamins, specifically B6, B9, and B12, in order to eliminate different things from our body. And we know that B12 is the energy vitamin. So with you telling me that you're a little low in energy later in the afternoon, and you are steering more towards the vegan side of things, most vegetarians and vegans are short in B12. And you may benefit from just a good B complex in general. But if you're going to look for, I have one here now that I see it. This one is a vegan safe B12. It's a liquid vitamin that you just place under your tongue. It's by Global Healing Center. It's called Vegan Safe B12. But the cool thing about it is it's already in forms that your body can use. So if you go to the doctor and he prescribes a B12 injection, it's going to be cyanocobalamin. And when you use the cyanide portion of it, yes, your body has to get rid of that and detox from it. Well, you want B12 to be a methyl donor. So you want methylcobalamin. And that's what 80% of this is methylcobalamin, and 20% is adenosylcobalamin. So both of those are in a form that your body can use, and your liver will thank you for getting that in. So just this is just a guess based off of your symptoms and things, but I would say you would benefit from some more B12, maybe even a B complex.
That's awesome.
So also go slow. I just told you that B12 and all these B vitamins help your body detox. So if you just, dump a bunch of B vitamins in there, you'll be like, what the heck? I feel like crap from a detox perspective. So increase it slowly.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ryan.
Yep. Anyone else want to share? Molly? How are things going, Molly?
Going all right. Maybe I've lost a pound or two. Who knows? I've been lazy about recipes and cooking, but doing all right. Do you have any suggestions? Is there anything like mayonnaise that I could put with tuna fish?
Yeah. Primal Kitchen has one that's actually made out of avocado oil. It doesn't have any other sugars and things in it, so a healthy oil. And they have some that are flavored different flavors as well. There's just plain Primal Kitchen mayonnaise. Then there's some that is the Southwest that has more of a spicy kick to it. There's a garlic one that it has garlic infused. But if you want to make your own, you can using eggs and olive oil. But from a manufacturing standpoint, Primal Kitchen is the brand I would look for. And like here in Ohio, like Kroger and Trader Joe's and Whole Foods and places like that have it. So I don't know what shops you have around there that may, but one other thing, I think when you're thinking about plans this week and how you're going to turn this into something that can be a lifestyle from a spring season standpoint, don't forget to, when you go to the market, ask. You check out at the register and they always ask you, did you find everything? No, I didn't. And here's the list of things I need. And then they're like, okay, let me see if we can find those. And if you talk to the manager, sometimes they'll order them for you. So like, my parents went to another store and they didn't have Whole Foods anywhere close to them, but they were looking for some sugar-free bacon. And all they did was ask the manager, and the manager got some sugar-free bacon in, and lo and behold, they couldn't keep it in stock. So, sometimes they need a little nudge as to what everyone wants, from a purchasing standpoint. So don't be afraid to ask, I guess, if you can't find it.
We have enough stores near here and a Whole Foods has come in. So that's,
Good.
we're fortunate in that regard.
And then you always have Amazon online or VitaCost or things like that as well.
So I don't really have any questions right now. I haven't, maybe I'll try the cinnamon and the alkagizer and just see that in a small quantity if I like it or not. Otherwise, I'm doing all right with the alkagizer. It's not something I particularly enjoy, but I get it down. So I don't really have any questions this week.
So keep playing around with your alkagizer recipe. If it is, if it is cinnamon that makes the difference, great. Is there any spices that you find that you enjoy or you like just on their own?
Paprika, I like nutmeg and stuff, but that all seems really strange to put with greens. So that's sort of what it just seems like, no, just have the greens. But I'll try that a little bit on small quantities and sort of see if I like any of it or not. So.
Yep, try it out. And if now that you're into the alkagizer prime, if you need to add like a good quality, you can add different nuts and seeds to it as a prime. So if that helps to give it the fat content or the need, the other thing would be almond milk or coconut milk, if that makes a difference as well. So play around with it. You could make it into warm or cold. I think you mentioned cold is better. You put ice in it.
No, just, from the refrigerator. So no, I haven't, and I haven't tried warm. It just seems strange. So, but I should try it. So, and I haven't. So.
Yep. And if you throw some broccoli in there or something like that, consider it a creamy broccoli soup. But sometimes when I travel, I find different smoothie shops that will make it. Just make the base recipe, and they always use ice, and I always like it with the ice in it all crunched up. So my parents were saying that they won't have it unless they have ice in it. So try it different temperature, see if that helps out at all.
Okay, great.
Awesome. Any new variety you're going to try? Some new thing that you haven't had before?
Me, I've been trying things that I remember my grandmother's eating, or different. So, and just grabbing different things that I don't even really know what they are, sort of thing. So, I mean, as far as variety, I'm getting that in. I haven't been separately cooking things. But as far as getting it into the alkagizer, I've been doing that.
Homework this week is one new item. So next week when you're here, you can tell us what new item you found and how you're going to use it.
Okay.
How you used it. Okay.
Sounds good.
Awesome. Thanks, Molly. Who else wants to share? Anyone else want to tell us about their weekend? LeBlanc?
Well, I had chips yesterday, the grain-free. I was beside myself. Everything just went haywire. It's like, ugh. I did the alkagizers, I did the meals, and at the end of the day, it was like, just lost it. But I'm back on track. And what I did was, I think a couple of days ago, I made some broth with turkey necks. I'm always looking for a way to make. Now it's like I make a big batch of just the broth. And then each time I want it, I can put different vegetables in.
Yep.
And so then I bought some rosemary yesterday and some dill. I put some dill in my alkalizer.
Oh, there you
So
go.
it's like I wanted to make it different. One time I did it and I put lemon and not parsley, but the other one, cilantro in it, and that was really good. So I'm just trying to look in advance of how to just to prep. But for some reason yesterday I was like, I don't know what's going on, but I just had to have it.
Was there,
Otherwise- huh?
from a hunger perspective, could you identify the hunger and what it was?
I don't know, because I went to work and I don't eat a lot when I'm working.
Mhm.
I usually have soup in the morning, and sometimes I put tons of celery in the soup. Depends on, I cut up a bunch of stuff and it depends on what I feel like doing in the morning. So lately I've been putting a bunch of celery in the soup, and then either I have some collard greens and mustard greens in the freezer, the frozen, so I can just throw that in the soup when I'm making it in the morning. So I don't have to worry about, I just have things prepared just to throw in the soup. And I had that in the morning, and I bring my alkalizer for lunch because it's easier to have that for lunch. And then by the time I get home at like 5 or 6, I'm starving. So that's when I just stir fry quickly the bok choy, whatever it is. And then I was still hungry, had the other half of the alkalizer. And then I'm like, and I was just like, it was just like crazy. It's like, what is going on? And then I had a few chips, and it's like, stop, let's stop. And then the other day I bought, I think there's a lot of sugar thing going on. Acorn squash. I know it's in the middle, but it's either you're going to go out and eat something bad or just get the acorn squash. And so I just cut it in half, put it in the oven. Then I put the lamb inside of it, the ground lamb that I had. And that's what I do with the ground and the meats. I have the meat aside so I can just cut it up, prepared to put in whatever I feel like putting it in. And so that's what I put in the acorn squash, and that really satisfied me the other day when I had that. But I don't know, it's work. It's something's being triggered when I get home from work. It's like my head is in a spin of everything that's going on. So I'm like sitting and trying to calm down, but it's like I couldn't figure out what I was trying to feed.
Yeah.
It's like, so
I imagine with all the stress that you just mentioned, your blood sugar levels are higher based off of your cortisol levels, and your body's like, well, I don't know if I can keep up with this from an adrenal standpoint, pumping out all this cortisol from a stress. You're going to need some more sugar. And this is usually where we start to self-medicate when we don't have enough, cortisol. We'll look for a stimulant. Okay, next is I'm going to find some coffee, and that'll do it. Or I need some additional sugar to get me through. So it's the same thing with the chips. They're sugar. Basically, those starches are going to be converted into sugar. So just know that, when there's an emotional piece tied to that with all the stress and things that are going on, and you're looking for that additional sugar to help support your adrenals and getting you through that fight or flight response, basically is what was going on. So, as in the challenge, we're sticking to certain things that are regimented, right? You turn to grain-free chips. I mean, that's not the end of the world. That's completely WildFit, fine. It's in a summer or a fall season. So basically you just switch seasons. So as you're living WildFit and things would come up, you have to see, what's the season that's going to serve you the best at that particular time. And, with all the stress that I've been going through with, COVID vaccines and everything going on at Walgreens, I knew that, okay, now spring season's probably not the best season for me to be in. So I purposely chose to be in fall for a couple reasons, where the food is easily digested. Remember, fruit is just easily digested. So I've been doing more from a fruit smoothie and things perspective, knowing that I'm stressed. And when I'm stressed, I'm not producing a bunch of stomach acid. so I'm not going to digest my food as well. So why not have things that are easier to digest, so that I can make sure that I'm getting the nutrients and things from them. But I still have to work on the stress side of things, and my perceived stress, or actually the physical stress that's going on in the body, and work through those, to, keep things healthy and not have live in that mode all the time. So doing better from a sleep perspective. Have you been keeping up with your sleep, or has there been any changes from a sleep perspective?
I usually get 5 hours. That's kind of like the stable 5 hours of sleep. And
I would imagine you'd benefit from some more sleep than 5 hours, Michelle.
No matter when I go, it's like I can't sleep long. I guess I'd have to take a nap later to add more hours to my sleep. I did that one day last week. I was cold and I went to take a nap. It's like, okay, I feel better now.
And that may be it. Because remember, the reason you're probably not staying asleep is from a melatonin perspective. Melatonin and cortisol are exactly opposed to each other. So if your cortisol levels are already starting to rise again, it's cutting off your sleep a little bit short. So if there is, listen to your body, right? If there is a time where you feel tired, and I call it when the bus comes, later on in the evening when you're sitting there and you're like, oh, I'm going to fall asleep after you eat dinner. The bus is coming. Maybe you should go get on the bus and take a nap. If you're not ready to go to bed yet.
I always feel guilty when I'm taking a nap. It's like, what are you doing?
Well, there's an emotional response. It's a good awareness to see why. Why can't I prioritize myself and give my body a little rest by taking a nap? What is it that is you're prioritizing more from a guilt perspective?
Mm-hmm. But I really enjoyed the acorn squash.
Yep.
Just cut it in half and then baked it. Then I put the meat inside and then baked it more. It was like, my body was like, oh, okay. It's like, so.
Yep. So we'll.
And I'm gonna try doing a vegetarian stock to see what I can come up with. Since J-Lo was talking about vegetarian, it's like, I haven't tried that.
Yep, veggie stocks. So you've been doing all kinds of different recipes with, chicken and turkey and different bone broths and things like that. So I think that's great to get in the extra nutrients and cartilage and things like that from the bones. Joan and I were talking about that as well. She loves all the bone, the whole organ meats and making the different broths and everything from the entire animal. So yeah, I think when the key is, listening to your body and seeing, what's going on, but you may benefit with this upcoming choice to transition for a little while and replenish some of those glycogen stores for your adrenal glands.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, and
sounds good.
Hence why we're living WildFit. We would transition seasons and kind of flip back and forth in and out of ketosis.
Right. Yeah, because my body doesn't really feel. It's like I'm in it, but it's like, oh my God, I feel like I need other.
Yep.
Because I'm down. I mean, I went down 20 pounds already, 22 pounds from the first time. This is a continuation. And it's like, do you really need to lose more at this point?
Exactly.
Because I'm 110 pounds. I would like to lose 5 more, but it's like, do I have to do it immediately? Do I have to do it all at this moment?
Yep.
It's like, no, wait till I feel better and then I'm on a roll again. The seasonal. Because that's what I'm starting to think. It's like, I'm in my pre-COVID pants now. I'm about 5 pounds away from being my pre-Katrina pants. So it's like, I'm okay. It's like, it's not bad. It's okay. And that's what I need to think. It's like, well, this is just a progression of where we came from when we started the first time around, since I haven't really stopped with the group.
Exactly.
So I'm not feeling bad about it, but it's like, I'm feeling I need more, like you said. It's like my body was like, I want roots. And then when I put the acorn squash in there, it's like, oh my God, I was like, oh my God, I felt so much better. My body didn't feel crazy.
To earn stupid money.
So, anyway. And I haven't gone wild with anything else. So I haven't gone out and bought real chips. I haven't gone out and got dairy. I haven't gone out and got all these other things. So I'm feeling good about that. So I haven't really gone crazy with sugar, you know.
So everyone over here in the chat's wondering, chips, acorn squash? Yeah, those things are not spring. Michelle knows that she's not following spring when she did all those things. So she's just basically telling us what she learned from the experiments that she did. So didn't want everyone to freak out, because I want chips. You know, everyone's like, I want an acorn squash. I want to do that. So,
yeah, sorry guys. I didn't want to.
I don't want to spoil everything for, you know, when you're living WildFit, you're going to adjust the seasons based off of your health goals. And Michelle just mentioned that she lost 22 pounds already. She's close to her ideal body weight. So she would, you know, change seasons to almost a maintenance type of mode in a summer, and you can even change it to a fall if you do it correctly. So we'll talk more about this as we learn more about all the different seasons, but we're going to see where everyone's at as far as their health goals go, from a health condition as well as a weight perspective. So you'll see what those choices and how they come up this Friday. So we'll expand upon that some more.
So Ryan, I'm sorry, very quick. Will we learn like how to switch seasons and how long to be in them? That's part of the program. Okay, thank you.
Yep. So we'll learn about all 4 seasons, and you'll have an opportunity to go into all 4 seasons if you'd like. See how you feel in those seasons, and then also how you will adjust them based off of your health goals and where you're at, and you know what benefits each season has. So it's not you know, spring all the time, you know, from that perspective.
Thank you, Ryan.
You're welcome. Leah, Chris, Michelle, anyone else want to share? Michelle V, you were preparing something there. What were you? It's Prep Sunday. What were you?
Oh, that was me. I just finishing my alkalizer, but kind of like Carrie, I make a batch of eggs that have lots of veggies and egg whites because I can't stand scrambled eggs with yolks. But
Okay.
And chopped up sugar-free bacon. So that's what I eat after all my drinking and stuff. I haven't actually. My little one and I are about to go to the store, so I haven't done all the prepping.
Yeah, and also we're gonna buy some salami and coconut.
Yes. Speaking of
coconut,
yeah, the evil meat. Yeah, this one's addicted to coconut. But we got. Remember how I told you about the coconut oil?
Yeah.
So we got a real coconut.
Cool.
And I can eat that, right, in spring.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Because yeah, that's wonderful, like on salads and stuff, and just a quick munch.
Yep.
So yeah, doing okay. I'm not feeling really lightheaded much in the morning, so I don't know if I just kind of got through it or what it is, because I'm still taking, you know, my magnesium supplement, and I do take baths a lot. So I don't know, but yeah, it's great. I'm feeling better in the mornings, which is good. I didn't change much.
So from you mentioned in the Facebook group, so I don't think you mind sharing from a thyroid perspective in having Hashimoto's with an autoimmune type of response. It all has to do with your immune system, and when you're in spring, everything kind of levels off. So your immune system is probably a lot more balanced and is not having the ups and downs, and when it does that. It may be that you mentioned that you felt like you had symptoms of your thyroid medicine was too high. And that can be because now it's better because your immune response to your thyroid is not as bad. So it's almost too much from that. I know there's a lot of, from a Hashimoto standpoint, my sister is also, dealing with some of those things. So the swing is back and forth from, excessive to low and back and forth again. So what can we do to level off your immune system and not have it be so reactive? Well, spring is one of those to kind of level things off. But it's just getting everything adjusted to the right levels when you are there. So, keep experimenting with it, but things that you can continue to boost up your immune system, avoid the things that have dips, and try not to, there can be things, from a food sensitivity, et cetera, that stimulate your immune system to be more overreactive. So I think we've talked about eggs in the past as well.
Yeah.
I know that's not what you want to hear right now. So, but
okay.
see how things are going. The key is to listen to your body, right? And realize that your immune system plays a big role in your thyroid levels because of that.
So because it's Hashimoto's, would it be possible to get rid of it altogether or just kind of decrease my need for the external hormone?
It would, we would have to really, the antibodies, it takes several months, for different types of antibodies to go away. And if it is, depending on the antibodies, there's thyroid globulin antibodies, there's TPO antibodies. So depending on those types of antibodies, you can greatly decrease them, and keep the immune system tolerant is basically, we need to keep it in the middle and tolerant of everything that's going on. It can get, to the point where it's a lot better. Is there always going to be that little thing that may trigger it again? Yeah, there probably would. But you can kind of bring things more in line and back into balance. So there's hope in getting things better. My sister, I tell her these things all the time, and she didn't want to. She did some things and she didn't want to listen, and now she's to the point where she's like, okay, I got to do something. So she's actually listening. So we'll see. I'll let you know if we can make any more progress.
One more question about thyroid stuff. Is it worth me asking for that expanded panel since, because I'm not going to have the T3, T4 conversion issue? Or is it still useful?
That's what you
That's
think.
What okay, all right. I'll get the full panel.
You still can have the conversion. So what thyroid medication are you on? Are you on an Armour thyroid that's a mix of T3 and T4? Or are you on
levothyroxine?
Levothyroxine is only T4. It's synthetic T4. So you can still have a conversion problem.
Okay. All right. Good to know. I will ask for the full panel then. Good.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks.
Yep. Chris and Leah, you want to share anything before we go? I just looked at the time.
Hi, good morning. No, we're okay. I did have a question about the Dirty Dozen.
Yeah.
And we keep seeing things going back and forth on like blueberries or raspberries, you have one group that says this is the dirty dozen, you have another group that says this is the dirty dozen. So like what's happening, and where can we find like a good source to tell us the best way or the best place to?
Are you looking at environmental working group? That's usually the one I look at. Environmental
Okay.
working group has got a list of, and they also do like a dirty dozen. That's usually the one I take a look at. If you can find organic, great. From a wild blueberry perspective, it's very difficult to find wild blueberries that are organic. Whole Foods was the only place I've been able to find them. But do I always have organic wild blueberries? No. I mean, sometimes it's just the regular ones. So like if they're fresh blueberries and raspberries, remember the kind of the secret that I shared about how do you get rid of the residual pesticides and chemicals that are on the outside of them is soak them in some water, like for 10 to 15 minutes with 2 tablespoons of baking soda in there.
Okay.
And the baking soda will help to remove the residual chemicals on the outside.
Okay.
Granted, that doesn't work if they're like frozen raspberries or frozen strawberries.
Well, we've been trying to buy organic, but we're buying a lot of organic things. So we're wondering what we can cut out and what we can. And of course we start Googling things, and that leads to nowhere sometimes.
Yeah. Knowing the source is probably, the actual source where they're coming from. And it can be conventional and still better from how they're producing them. So if it's a farmer's market and you can talk to the farmer and how they grew them, even better,
Okay.
So.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, you guys have a great week. Keep up with listening to your body and how things are going on, thinking about how you're going to continue to add more recipes, different things in to make this a lifestyle. On Friday will be Enhancement Day, and we'll have some choices to make. So I'll see you all on Friday, or this week, or it's Thursday. Bye for now.